Dragon. He's definitely, the Inferno Dragon has been a nuisance today. Number 1, match number 4.
And we remember Nemsensei was a whole lot of fun in the spring season. After he won, he would put on his dark shades and give the thumbs up to the camera. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see a little bit of that today, but we got my fingers crossed. So Nemsensei cycles the zap. So he zaps the tower just to get it out of his hand. And so I assume that Goblin Hut was the 5th card in his hand, and you want to just pull it into his hand.
Yep.
So you zap, you get back to 10, nothing changes, your opponent's not attacking you. Time to actually do your investment. Vulkan replies, though, with a poison, and already, whoa! So I think for the first time all weekend, we're going to have a mirror match of the Goblin Hut P.E.K.K.A.
Wow. It has become relevant.
All right. And you know Vulkan rolled his eyes when he saw the Goblin Hut come out. He immediately was like, here we go. I do not know what the keys are to this matchup. So it may come down to very specific cards between them. Like they might be running, like one might be running a slightly different card than the other, and that could be the key in the matchup. But truthfully, because this is a new deck that really is not even a week old, players don't have a lot of experience on how this matchup's going to play out.
Yeah, you just kind of got to play it as you go, depending on what's in your hand, what's in your deck for that matchup, and see what are going to be my best choices. Hey, speaking of our girl, there's Mama P.E.K.K.A. now. All right, so Mama P.E.K.K.A. walking from the back there. Nemsensei still got his Goblin Hut on the board there, just chipping away slowly but surely. I mean, you got to do something about it because it's not like they're going to do detrimental damage to the tower from this Goblin Hut, but it's just an annoyance. I mean, these goblins are continuously being spawned, and you've got to do something about it. But you don't want to you don't want to invest too much elixir into defending it because then they're going to overwhelm you on one side and then just be able to continuously push on the opposite lane as well. So you gotta have a balance when you're defending against a Goblin Hut.
Yeah, it's almost like a big Tombstone, right? Like it's going to steadily drop out these troops, but unlike Tombstone, they all attack. Every Spear Goblin gets off in a shot, even if it's against something like the King Tower itself that outranges it. It still gets a shot off because it moves so quickly. Now Vulkan is running Giant and P.E.K.K.A.
Wow.
I'll bet, I mean, Nemsensei only has one of the two. Now when you go back and look at Lupanji's list, he ran it a few different ways, and one of the ways was with Giant and P.E.K.K.A., which is pretty crazy.
Well, here it is. Wow, what a push, though, to deal with. P.E.K.K.A. and Giant at the same time, but Nemsensei's pulling everything to the center there.
And another Giant. This is getting a little risky for Vulkan, but he's hoping that these Giants can connect and get there. He has no way to finish off the Baby Dragon or the Electro Wizard. He's going to have to log through them.
Log comes down. Giant slowly getting, is he going to get one punch on the tower? I think so. Just one, though, perhaps. That's it.
And Vulkan having the double tank seems to have paid off as he has over 1,000 damage lead right now as we are heading into overtime.
Here we go, overtime. All right, so P.E.K.K.A. is crossing the bridge there. Now Miner comes down from Nemsensei, but you know what? Vulkan kind of ignoring it a little bit, focusing on his offense, his push a little bit more.
The poisons here are so valuable for Vulkan. I feel like because almost all of the combat is happening on Nemsensei's side of the board, the poisons are really just doubling up. They're hitting troops, they're hitting towers, they're hitting Goblin Huts. You really, what I'm learning from watching this game is that in a mirror match of these two decks, you want to be the aggressor because you do not want to necessarily be fighting on your side of the board.
Which Vulkan is, and he's got the lead right now. I mean, he's 4 elixir short of 2 poisons there on Nemsensei's tower, so he's got to get something else in there. He's got log, though, so it looks like he's going to start maybe spell cycling at this point. Ooh, the
Very
Mega
interesting.
Knight.
So yeah, Nemsensei was playing Mega Knight's only tank. That makes sense why he didn't want to play it up until now because the P.E.K.K.A. was up front and it would kill you. So I get that he wanted to wait for an opportune moment to drop the Mega Knight.
Yeah, and it looks like Vulkan's going to have this game no matter what. He's just got to get another poison down, keep defending Nemsensei.
Pretty close, though. He's going to use the Giant just to tank and hold the line. That's a smart move, because I was going to say, like, actually the Electro Wizard and Mega Minion could do a pretty serious amount of damage quickly, so Vulkan just needed one more thing to buy time, and it was going to be the Giant on defense.
Wow, okay, Vulkan. One of my predictions, just saying.
Yeah, but I've got a Google Home waiting on more opportunities to chop stuff up, but it looked like he was using P.E.K.K.A. up front because the P.E.K.K.A. would get drugged to the side by troops, and that kind of gave the Giant a straight line path towards the tower once the Goblin Hut went.
Yeah, just to keep walking. Oh, so it looks like Spellbait perhaps from Vulkan already. We see a Goblin Barrel, first one of the day.
Yeah, I mean, barring him also copying Lupanji's other deck, this looks like we're going to be getting a classic Spellbait here. Now, I'm not sure what Nemsensei's going to do. Ooh, is he going to try to activate? He does!
Oh my
Great
gosh.
tornado by Vulkan, a
Wow.
very rare play. We don't see that as
Oh
often.
my goodness.
In fact,
that was impressive.
I don't see that outside of like OJ videos. Like, hey, if you do this
Yeah.
exact spot and pull this to the exact right corner, then you can do this. But Vulkan
No
used that
kidding.
tornado and activated his King Tower off of an Electro Wizard.
Wow, impressive. Very impressive. I
Earning
see you,
fans.
Vulkan.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, so it looks like minor control from Nemsensei. So this will be an interesting matchup. Vulkan running the version of Logbait that has a tornado, so probably maybe doesn't have Inferno Tower in there.
Yeah, usually it's either you have a building or you have a tornado, but
Yeah.
very rarely both. Great defense there. The Goblin Gang blocks the miner, forcing Nemsensei to use a poison to take out the princess.
Good poison.
It's good. Actually,
Take out the
Nemsensei's got to be
gang.
happy, too. He's got an early damage lead on both
Yeah.
sides, and that Ice Spirit by Vulkan played a little too close and allowed more damage to get on to the to the tower.
This will be kind of hard for Vulkan because Nemsensei does have the log. Looks like log's out of hand right now. Ooh, welcome to King
Smart
Tower.
play by Nemsensei. He could have logged
Nicely
that. He
done.
had log and cycle, but he opted instead to play the skeletons by the King Tower and drag the goblins
Woke it up.
over. He read it as a juke barrel. I'm really impressed with the play.
No
This
kidding.
game has shown us some really pro-level play, and we're seeing maneuvers that you just do not see out of normies like you
These
and
are
I.
the things that you try to do at home and you're like, why didn't it work out for me like
Yeah.
it did for him?
It seemed like it would be good when I thought about it in my brain, but it didn't quite work out on the field.
All right, so we got a push here from Vulkan. He's got the knight across. Barrel comes down. Good timing. His tower's targeted on the knight, but Nemsensei ready with that log once again.
Electro Wizard's going to go down. The Mega Minion, see if he can defend it. He's going to use the Goblin Gang to hold it off. The longer you can get... Oh, the Princess is going to go down! All the best efforts of Mice and Men
Poor
do
girl.
not come together here for Vulkan in that attempt.
Ooh, good log once again. Nemsensei using the E-Wiz this time instead of log. Great rocket from Vulkan. Going to connect with the E-Wiz.
So
Good
Nemsensei's
choice.
reacting to that rocket by going in very aggressively. He knows that
Yikes.
Vulkan is low elixir and decides to go in with Giant Miner. And it looks like the
How about
poison as
this
well. He
push,
might close
though?
down the tower.
Oh, good tornado, though. Pulls the giant back. Goblin Gang is just outside of the poison.
Yeah, the Knight plus the extra tower really kept him alive there. That easily could have been a loss for Vulkan right there, but he's looking to try to finish this off.
Nemsensei pushing again, not giving up at all, which he's got to do. He's got to keep pushing, got to keep the pressure on because, I mean, at this point, Vulkan needs just a rocket and a little bit more.
Nemsensei's familiarity with this deck is
Whoa,
showing through.
is
The
he
Giant's going to connect one punch.
Oh, man. Poison's going to bring it down a little bit further.
Log and Poison will do it.
Here comes Barrel.
No, it won't. Log Poison
is
won't
ready.
do it.
Not quite, still not in range for Vulkan to rocket. He needs it down to 493 or below. Miner connects, Poison is on the tower. It looks like that is GG. Wow, Nemsensei tying it up, our first tied up match.
The Zen Master pushes it to
Right.
Superstar, and like I don't know about Millionaire yet, but I fully
On his
see
way.
Millionaire right in
For
Surgical
sure.
Goblin's future. So Clash Royale can change your life starting in tournaments just like this one.
All right, so we have a Miner once again. We've seen a lot of Miners today. Miner very popular in CCGS so far this season.
And we have the Mega Minions are going to meet somewhere around the bridge. Vulkan going back to that
Hey.
Goblin Hut deck.
Ooh,
Nemsensei,
wow.
I think, is playing Miner Boy. No, he might be playing Giant Beatdown himself.
Perhaps, yeah, we see the Night Witch in there. This is an aggressive start for Vulkan. I mean, he started that Giant at the bridge very early in the game, not even under 2 minutes yet. And he gets a few punches on the tower, bringing it down to 21-12.
Yeah, it's almost like a giant balloon kind of push, right? You 5 on the
Yeah.
Goblin Hut and instantly 5 more on the Giant, really trying to go in on it. And the Electro Wizard keeps himself
Beautiful play.
alive with that last second stun.
I think he realized it. I mean, I think he just got shut down with his Spellbait deck last game.
Right.
So I think it was wise for him to switch back. He did very well with this Giant deck. I'm assuming it's the same one, that Giant P.E.K.K.A. with the Goblin Hut.
That's a very good point. Yeah, he did have a different one. He could be running Mega Knight like Nemsensei did, but I will assume with you that he's running the Giant P.E.K.K.A. version, which seems very aggressive.
Yes.
I mean, I'm surprised that you can run Giant and
know.
P.E.K.K.A. and Goblin Hut and not just be caught off guard. I feel like you
Yes.
play against Spellbait and stuff, and that those hands are like, these aren't good hands, you know?
Yeah. All right, so we're about tied right now between the two players. Poison getting a little bit more damage for Nemsensei on Vulkan's side.
I think Vulkan has a bit of an elixir lead, though, because not only does he have the Goblin Hut still on field, but he played the Giant, and then they are about even elixir. So this is a good opportunity for Vulkan to try to push through and actually take that elixir lead and convert it into a win.
Interesting to see how they play this deck. I mean, because Vulkan with the Hut, which is an annoyance, you got to do something with it, but he's playing the Giant on the same side as the hut, whereas sometimes you see those style decks you play where you want the spawner to go to one side and you kind of push on the other lane. So that way they have two things to focus on.
I think Goblin Hut works as a really good defensive tool. I mean, it's like a furnace, right? It's chip damage you have to deal with. But if you do try to attack into that lane, he can defend with something like P.E.K.K.A. or start pushes with Giant, and the Goblins build up very quickly behind and help deal with Skeletons, Goblin Gang, Bats especially that are a big annoyance. And if the pushes go on for a really long time, or if it's double Elixir and you can cycle another Giant really quickly, you can easily build up 5, 6, 7 Spear Goblins behind it, and suddenly it just overwhelms your opponent.
All right, Miner coming down once again. P.E.K.K.A, she's on the wrong side, so she's slowly walking over to Nemsensei's Miner as he gets a ton of swings on Vulkan's tower. We're still pretty close, though. That still could go either way for this battle.
Only 100 damage.
Giant from Nemsensei.
I like the Giant Skeleton push. It's only 6 Elixir, but the Skeletons do provide a lot of follow-up damage to the Giant if you're not just on it right away. So the Skeletons are going to lock on there. Oh, the other tower ends up taking them out.
Look at Vulkan's push, though, on the right-hand side here. Getting the chop down just a little bit, but yeah, Giant's for sure going to connect. He's healthy. Both Giants on the tower. However, Nemsensei's tower is just a little bit lower.
And Vulkan, 2-1 victory.